Hello, everyone. Welcome to Birth Your Vision podcast live, and I'm your host. It's a real pleasure to have you here today. Thanks for joining us. And I'm super excited because I have another amazing guest who is going to be joining me in the studio. And we're going to be focusing on self mastery today, as well as, self leadership. So, my guest today is going to be telling us all about why self mastery is very important, and we're going to be having a great discussion about different types of leadership skills and how you can actually master those skills. So I would like to just introduce to you my wonderful, amazing guest. I'm super excited to have her on the show today. All the way from America. She's going to tell us exactly where in America she is being interviewed from. So today, on today's podcast episode, I am joined by the wonderful Sopheia McMorris. And, she is an executive wisdom mentor. She's also a certified professional transformational life coach. She's a CEO and the founder of Wisdom Speaks Life. Her clients normally hire her to be able to help them create and implement, different types of great secret success strategy, and also to help them to plan and integrate very much harmonious, fulfilling life. So Sopheia, she was able to actually complete a Bachelor of Science degree in African American Studies and Political Science. And she's also an author, and she has actually spent over 20 years as a homeschool teacher. So today she's here to share the amazing transformation that she's been, doing, helping, different types of clients. She offers through a Speak Wisdom company, she offers different types of coaching programs and services and private one-to-one coaching. And she's going to be sharing all those wonderful services with us today. So Sopheia, thank you so much for coming to Birth Your Vision podcast. It's so great to see you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
You
great
are
to be
truly
here.
welcome. Thank you so much. You look absolutely amazing.
Thank you. You did too.
Thank you. So tell us, where in the world are you being interviewed from today?
I'm being interviewed from Chicago, Illinois, in the
Wow, that's
US.
amazing. Awesome. And it's been a real pleasure to actually connect with you. We met from a networking event, and
Yes.
that is really the power of networking, isn't it?
Yes.
Connecting together. And as soon as we met, we connected. And so the rest is history. And you're here today,
Yes.
live, sharing, your inspirational story as a woman in business. You're going to be sharing, self-mastery skills with us, as well as self-leadership, how we can actually master that and what that really means for us as business women. So, tell us a little bit more about self-mastery and what that means.
Well, self mastery is about getting very clear about who you are and what's important to you. So, one of the things that happens is that when you start to self master, you become aware. And I say, you can't become aware and you can't do the things that you want to do without becoming aware first, and
Right.
then being able to change the things that you want to do. So it's a lot about the self-knowledge. A lot of times we find ourselves not really knowing ourselves. We
Right.
find ourselves, we'll know other people better, we'll know their story, but we don't really know ourselves and our own story. And so that's what it deep dives into, having that self-knowledge.
Absolutely. I mean, self-mastery to me, it's also an ability to actually recognize, would you agree? And to also understand and to be able to know yourself,
Yes,
both the physical, the mental, the
yes,
emotional, as well as your spiritual self.
yes, yes,
It-
definitely.
yeah, it's really about gaining a thorough awareness and understanding, as
Yes,
well as control over your thoughts and your emotions. And
right,
I feel like, sometimes many people suffer from not really understanding, what self mastery really means. And I'm
right.
really happy that you're able to actually explain that
Yeah.
in such a nice, articulate way. So, how can we actually apply self mastery to our business as business women?
Well, again, it's about knowing yourself, really having
Yes.
that self knowledge, being able to have, define your purpose, what it is that you're here to do, and
Mm,
then be able to be that your authentic self and bring that to the table. So it's very much about just knowing,
yeah.
what's important to you, knowing who you are, and then keep that forward movement, and it helps you in your professional as well as in your personal life. It helps you with communication, your interpersonal relationship, just being your authentic self. I mean, it helps you. It's the foundation,
Yes.
and I feel like a lot of people, they don't necessarily know this particular aspect of self mastery, because it needs to be like in everybody's book. It's that what
Yeah.
I would say. Because it tells you about your beliefs, your values. I mean, it just really identifies so much about who you are as a person. And then,
Absolutely.
because sometimes we'll try to change things, like, when you feel out of control, you're like, okay, I'm trying to gain control. So you set boundaries. And one of the things I tell people, I said, what's better than even setting boundaries is
Yeah.
living by your own values and your own beliefs.
Absolutely, indeed. I definitely do agree with that. Someone just asked a question, one of our listeners. So they said, what is self mastery in leadership?
Well,
What does that
self
mean to you?
it's the same in
Yeah.
knowing yourself first, and
Hmm.
then really being able to have that emotional intelligence. That's one of the aspects of self mastery, and it all starts with awareness, the motivation, self regulation, empathy, and social skills.
Mm,
Those are so important, because you're able to affect change and to
right.
influence others when you have this level of empathy and social skills.
Absolutely. So that really brings me to, self leadership. What does that really mean, to be honest?
Well, I mean, self leadership is being able to lead your own self. And I
Right.
say that self mastery is the key to self leadership. So when you get to know yourself, when you understand and are able to accept yourself and know the things that are important to you, you're able to start leading yourself. You're
Yeah.
able to define for yourself what's important, what your values are, what's meaningful to you, and then really being able to communicate that to other people. And it
Mm,
helps you to understand your own perspective, so that way you can help understand other people. Because there's a lot of time, like in business,
yeah.
we don't understand what it takes for somebody, when they say they're experiencing a hard time or they're experiencing overwhelm. We don't
Yeah.
always understand. But when we're able to know that, oh, I've experienced the same thing, and I'm so aware, and these are the steps that I took to get over, or to get past, or to get through those type of situations, then I'm able to understand somebody else and be able to give them a helping hand. Yeah.
Absolutely. Indeed, definitely. I do agree with what you've said in terms of self leadership. It's really about practicing intentionally, being intentionally, really influencing your thinking, your
Yes.
feelings, as
Yes.
well as your
Definitely.
actions towards your own objective.
Right.
And it's really, really important. So, tell us about the work that you do in regards to self mastery and self leadership. What type of work do you do with the people that you help?
Well, I help entrepreneurs and professionals, and I
Mm,
really help them, if they find themselves being a people pleaser,
right.
always saying yes and needing to say no.
Hmm.
I help those who find themselves being passenger in their own lives to get
Yeah.
in the driver's seat of their own life and live life on their own terms. And those who may find themselves being a doer or overachiever,
Yeah.
to actually be able to practice presence, not just being busy, but being productive as well in their business, and really setting those smart goals for themselves, so that they can move their life forward and be who they know they could be.
Yes, absolutely. I think sometimes we struggle to say no to people, don't we?
Yes.
Every time we want to say yes, even when it's inconvenient.
Right,
And I love what you
definitely.
said about teaching, your clients how to really say no and to have time for yourself.
Right,
It's so important. Share some top tips for saying no, because some of us, we do struggle with that,
right,
especially those of us who have business and we want to do so many things at the same time. We want to be in so many places, but sometimes it's very overwhelming, and we
right,
just need to say no, step
right,
away, and process, and be able to now see what we can actually physically or even mentally do or be at. Yeah. So
right.
give us some tips as to how we can actually say no, how we can actually practice saying no.
Okay. Well, one tip would be if somebody asks you about something, is to take an opportunity to, at least like 24 hours to say, let me process that and I'll get back to you.
Mm,
The other tip would be, instead of just jumping right in and saying yes, you would
yeah.
take the time to evaluate where you're at. Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? And is this something that's going to actually help you move forward? And let me
Definitely.
see another tip. Oh, I think I lost my other tip, but definitely being very aware of your own feelings towards it. And then, the other part of it is being able to say, when you answer, instead of
Mhm.
saying, I can't, I
Yeah.
can't do that. If somebody said, let's go over here and do this, and you say, oh, I can't do that. You can say, I don't, because that is the way you show more power and more assertiveness in owning your decision, in that I don't want to do that versus I can't do that.
Absolutely, definitely, Sophia, because sometimes we just need to get comfortable to learn how to say no. And it's okay to say no, because we really can't be in
Right.
so many places. We can't do so many things. We can't be available to everybody. And I think it's
Exactly.
really important that we create boundaries.
Yes.
You mentioned something along the lines of, having, your own time, and it's okay for you to say no. It's about feeling empowered to say
Yes.
no at any time for
Yes.
any request,
Right.
outside of your perimeter, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Is to be able to say, I don't agree. Because a lot of us feels a
Yeah.
lot of guilt and shame around, not saying yes to everybody's wants and needs, and, people being needy and saying, oh, I can't do it.
Yes.
You can do it better than me. So then you need to help me, or you should do. I mean, it's just saying, no, it's okay to really just put your foot down and say no. But one of the
Definitely.
ways that I teach people is that make it your value and your belief. Make it a
Right.
part of that, because when it is your belief and when it is your value, then you're able to say no with much greater ease, because you're just living according to what the standards are that you've set for
Mm.
yourself.
Indeed, definitely. Someone said, know your priorities. Absolutely, you got to know exactly what you are doing. And someone said, give yourself time to
Yes,
to reflect and to think about an answer. If you
definitely.
want to say no, just say it comfortably, and
Hmm.
try to remove yourself from any situation that you don't really feel too comfortable with anyway. And
Exactly.
yeah, rather
You
than
know,
providing excuses, be very polite
right,
and
right.
kindly and comfortably say no.
Yeah, exactly. Just being able to say, I don't agree. Or, I'm not sure about that. Let me process it. Let me think about it, and
Yeah,
then take a step back to figure out where. A lot of
absolutely.
times we tend to not listen to our own voices. Let other people's voices ring louder than our own. So it is important that we always evaluate the situation to allow and say, my voice has to be more important to me than
Mm,
somebody else's voice.
absolutely. And I think that what you've just said can actually be turned into an affirmation. My
Okay.
voice is louder, is stronger, and I believe in my self-worth. I believe in
Yes.
myself. I'm a woman of value, of worth. All
Yes.
those things, they are really powerful words. that
Yes.
will allow us to understand that we need to take ownership of our own priorities, and to also be comfortable to be able to say no, and have time for ourselves, because sometimes we get so overwhelmed and we get so burnt out trying to help so many, whilst we are not really giving ourselves that enough time to look after
Right.
ourselves, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I talk about is, there's a confusion between self-love and self-care. And
Yes.
so with self-love, it is practicing compassion and kindness and empathy towards yourself. And that kindness, the self-care is born from that kindness. But
Right.
when you're able to understand your own feelings, evaluate yourself, know where you are, empathize with yourself without getting overwhelmed, and or without the judgment, just being able to sit in yourself and be grateful, and pursue your own warmth and compassion.
Right.
Those kind of things are so important, because a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves. We'll do a lot of self-care activities, like take walks, eat a healthy meal, and go exercise at the gym, and all of those type of things. But
Yeah.
what we have to do is to really take the time to self-reflect, and even be able to self-soothe ourselves when we experience hardships and difficulties.
Absolutely. I love the way you've actually defined self-love and self-care. They're both kind of intertwined within each other. Once we find a way to love who we are, self-care automatically,
Yes.
combines together and it becomes one, which is really amazing.
Right.
On that note, I really want you to talk about your story in terms of how you were able to start, this business, and also what was your motivation in starting this business, really.
Okay. Well, my story goes a little bit back. I started my journey into doing this business from struggling with my weight. So for years and years, I struggled with my weight, and from the time I was a teenager all the way into adulthood, and I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I kept, trying different diets, doing a lot of things. At one point, I signed up for the gastric bypass surgery,
Wow.
and 6 months into it, I'm waiting and nothing's happening, no surgery date. And I said, if I did something before, something would have happened. But then I sat down one day to meditate, and I read a quote: "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou would prosper and be in health, even as
Mm.
thy soul prosper." And that word soul spoke to me for the first time. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what's my soul? What's my soul's prosperity? So in understanding my soul and discovering what my soul was, my own story, my own self, my own way of thinking, feeling, my own thoughts, actions, and behaviors, I mean, I was just like, it's like an explosion, of things that occurred within me. And then I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I found the secret. I found the secret. I mean, it is the foundational truth that we have to learn our own selves and learn our own values and beliefs, and then we're able to transform. So
Mm.
I went on from there. I didn't get the surgery, so I went on from there to transforming into losing 100 pounds. And I was just amazed at my own abilities and capabilities. And so it was this self-discovery journey that I had gone on to learn myself, and to learn, like, I say it like this: I keep walking around the same mountain. So for a long time, I felt like I was moving forward, but realizing that all I was doing was circling the same spot. And so each time I would start again to lose the weight, I would, start again in the same spot and go around. I would lose the weight, and then I gained the weight. And so I had to discover that I needed to create a path, understanding myself, create a path to go up and over the mountain and down the other side. So that was what I did, instead of going around the mountain and thinking I'm moving forward. Because a lot of people, I find, experience that kind of difficulty, where they feel like they're moving forward, but they're not going anywhere. It's sort of like being busy, but not
Yeah.
being productive.
Wow, that is really, really powerful. I mean, I love that story of yours. It's about really recognizing how you can actually look at where you're at and where you want to be,
Yes.
finding yourself going through difficult times and recognizing that you can actually move forward and
Not sure what to do here. Can you hear me? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Maybe she has to go out and come back in. Mm. Oh my Lord. Oh my goodness. Well, I think the internet has failed on my co host's part. Um, what to do? Let's see. I don't know if I'm live, and should I keep talking? Anything? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Great, fantastic. So, as we were saying, um, tell us a little bit more about the kind of clients that you actually work for.
Well, like I mentioned before, it was entrepreneurs and professionals who find themselves being people pleasers or passengers in their own life and doers. And they want to be who they know they could be. They want to be able to, set those boundaries. They want to be able to, be in the driver's seat of their own lives, and they want to live life on their own terms, and they want to be able to, you know, become who they know how to be. They want to be able to practice mindfulness and
Yes,
presence and all of those things, but they're not able to, accomplish that on their own. Because what you find is a lot of the foundational things like knowing themselves and their thoughts and their own beliefs and values, those
yes.
things have to be reworked in order to get them to a place where they can be the person that they've known themselves to be.
Absolutely. That sounds like an amazing work and
Yeah.
wonderful service that you actually offer. So, in the process of starting your business, did you actually encounter any hardships or any challenges or struggles along the way?
Yes. So I from day one, I started my business in 2013. I've been on my online business when I've taken it more seriously since 2020. So I launched February 1st, 2020, and then COVID hit March. So 2020. So I've been challenged, and a lot of it has been around I had to experience, and embrace new technology.
Yeah.
So there was before I would meet clients one to one and, talk to them about, what I was doing and everything like that. So that's how I was meeting. But then now we had to step into the online world. And so I had to learn the technology, sort of like how we had technology challenges here. And that's always a given. So you have to be, a person, be able to be in your mind like, okay, I'm just going to take it all in stride. I'm not going to get worked up that we lost the connection and everything like that. I had to learn to do Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was so new to me about how to use technologies and the different tools in order to integrate them into my business to make it work and to to be the person and to be for my clients who I needed to be.
Fantastic. I know that so many people had to actually adapt, to be quite honest, learning different tools,
Yeah.
different apps, learning how to use simple systems to help them, to
Yeah.
run their business a lot better,
Yeah.
especially during this period where we had the lockdown, which is absolutely right.
Yeah.
What offer do you have for our audience? Um,
Um,
that would be really great to hear some of the offers that you have for our audience.
well, I have my complimentary offer, which is my life assessment. It's Sopheia Speaks Wisdom life assessment. It asks you the question, are you living a life you love? So that is one of those things that I help people to do is to identify where they are. So it helps you to know what you may or may not be doing to
Mm,
create a life you love. And then to be able to, what you could do instead to start creating that life you love. And it really is about that evaluation of self and, identifying things that you could be doing. So that's my complimentary offer. I also do offer courses as well.
fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the amazing courses that you actually offer?
Well, I have a group course coaching program, as well as a leadership coaching program. And then those are basically where I teach self mastery. And it really is helping you to identify where you are. So
Yeah.
we start off with the understanding of yourself. And then we go from understanding yourself to then self love, because I think that is so pertinent in our journey into moving forward and really owning our own and up leveling our lives is that we
Yes.
learn that self-love. So we go from understanding yourself and then plug into self-love, and then from there we go into aligning yourself, and
Mm.
that's really aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, your thinking, the decisions that you would make, and
Yeah.
then being able to align yourself with source or spirit or universe, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
God, because that is your support system, to
Yes.
help you really move forward and to do the transition. Because as you mentioned before, sometimes the journey of leadership or for being a business owner is a
Mm.
lonely one when you first start out, before you get connected to
Yeah.
networking groups and everything like that. And so you really need to be able to have all the support that you can have and really be able to, support your own self in your own beliefs, having that authority. That's one of the the things of a leader, is that you would have that inner faith in your own
Yes.
inner wisdom, and then be able to have the same inner faith, so that you don't give away your power to other authorities or other people, who's, again, with the voice, who can speak louder than you, or who you think may speak louder than you. You
Mm.
have to really own your own and make sure that everything is coming from you, that you're taking the responsibility and the authority to lead yourself forward.
Absolutely. Take the responsibility and,
Yes.
the authority. You have to
Yeah.
own it.
Yes.
Own your power and just
Yes.
run with it.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what advice would you actually give someone who is actually looking at starting their own business, doing something similar to what you're doing?
I would say, find your own motivation and drive.
Yeah.
Find your purpose,
Mm.
and then make sure it's something that you want to do. Because what
Yeah.
will happen is that you'll have to practice a lot of perseverance and patience. You'll
Yeah.
have to learn technology and all of those things. But the journey, I say, like, transformation is a journey as well as a destination.
Yes.
And the journey is where you have to be able to take everything in stride. You have to be able to get up every day and get motivated and be that self motivator. That's why self mastery is so important, because
Yeah.
if you don't have that belief in yourself, if you're not self motivated, then you're not going to be a person of significance, and you won't
Mm.
be able to move your life forward. You'll kind of just keep spinning your wheels, and looking at outside, because that was one of the things that I did when I was, going through wanting to lose the weight. I kept looking for outside solutions. So therefore, I chose different diets. I chose other things that would help me, something that would work on the outside first before I really looked at the inside and my inner world and my inner workings, and how I can align myself with my own goals, values, dreams, desires, and wants.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to business, we all use different types of resources, and there's so many resources out there. So, what are the best resources that has actually helped you along the way?
Well, I think Zoom. Zoom has been a resource.
Are you not
Uh,
zoomed out yet?
no, I'm not zoomed out yet. I mean, because I think you can't really get zoomed out. It's one of the leading platforms, that you have to use. Google. That's the other thing. When you're doing research and everything like that, that's a resource that you have to use, and Google My Business and all these other things. So you want to be able to attach yourself to things that are on the leading edge, where you're going to be able to get updated information and be able to move your life forward.
Absolutely. Zoom is definitely one of my great tools to go to. Very straightforward, easy to
Yeah.
use, and you're
Yes.
able to, it's very flexible to use, isn't it? So that's definitely one of my favorite tool indeed. Who are the three people who have been the most influential to you?
I would say my mom,
Yeah.
because I believe that she taught me how to follow my dreams and follow my heart.
Mm.
Les Brown.
Right.
For teaching me how to be the answer. I had an experience with him when I was in college, and I went to the his presentation, and everybody was laughing and having a good time, and I was like, I came away from it with like these questions, like what happens when the joke is over? We
Yeah,
need tools. We need those resources that we can turn
absolutely.
to live our lives. The questioning of myself and the questioning of what happened made me come to the conclusion that I needed to be the answer. I needed to, you know, be that person to create resources, and hence that was the start of my business, actually, because
Yeah.
then I started creating resources for people to use as a self motivation, so that
Mm.
way they can keep moving their lives forward.
Absolutely, indeed. I mean, we've been talking about success, and majority of people talk about success, what they've actually achieved, and how they've been able to scale their business. But sometimes we often forget about the hardships, the stumbling blocks, as well as the failures. So,
Yeah.
what is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it? Something that our viewers can actually learn from as well.
Well, I mean, I have quite a bit of failures. But one of the things that I learned early on, and this was a failure for me, is that I tried out for cheerleading in high school, and
Oh,
I didn't make the team. I went with my girlfriend, and she was my best friend at the time, and we were going to do it together. And then the moment that we get ready to walk up, they call our names. She walked out the room, and I was left standing there. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I said to myself, I'm not a quitter. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to, do the cheers, the best of my ability. And so I did. And I didn't make the team, but I learned a valuable lesson, that I wasn't a quitter, that I
yeah,
had the endurance to keep going and to be a person of significance, even if no one else joined me in what I was doing. So,
yeah.
so that was, where I had the failure. And then I was able to, learn from the
Learn.
experience, because that's the key to mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the keys to failure, is to learn from that and say, what lesson does this provide me with, so that way
Yes.
I can keep moving forward.
Absolutely. And it's also about self-belief as well, believing in
Yeah.
yourself a bit more.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. So, what is one thing that you wish that you had known, before you started your business?
Well, I would say I would have wished to have learned, know about more technology,
Right.
because that was, I mean, that was like a wake up call.
Yeah.
I mean, when I got, thrown into it, and they told me
Yeah.
that I had to do Facebook Lives and all of those things, I cried. I was like, really? Can I just meet people and talk to them? I was just like, oh my goodness. So I think I would have, hoped that I had learned technology more and had been more comfortable with
Mm,
technology. Although the learning experience have been something for me to be able to look back on, and help me move forward, and can help encourage other people that, for the learning the technology and everything like that.
absolutely. You've mentioned encouraging other people. So, what is one thing that you want to actually encourage the viewers to actually take action on today? Those who are watching us today, what is it that you want to inspire them with, for them to
Um,
take away from this conversation today?
Well, I have a quote by Leonardo da Vinci, and for
Yeah.
me, it speaks volume. It says, "One can have no greater mastery than mastery of themselves." So
Mm,
I think that is just beautifully said, and
yeah.
that is a motivation, and an encouragement to keep moving forward. Learn about yourself, know what your values and beliefs are, and really start taking those necessary steps to move your life forward.
Absolutely, indeed. It's been such a pleasure to have you here today, Sophia. We've had so many great tips and strategies and nuggets from you about self mastery. You've given us great tips on how to ensure that we are mastering self leadership. It's about, recognizing ourselves, believing in ourselves and who we are. Thank you so much. It's really, really an honor to have you here. How can our viewers actually reach you if they wanted to get in touch with you?
Well, there's several ways to reach me.
Yeah.
They can reach me at my website. So there is a contact page there. So go to SophiaSpeaksWisdom.com. They can also pick up my complimentary offer. And that will give them access to me. Inside will be my phone number, and I can go ahead and just share it. It's 773-219-3399. So that's our Wisdom Speaks Life phone number.
Fantastic. So I'm going to be putting up all the information in the comment section below for our audience as well as our viewers. And how did you find the whole process coming on to the Birth Your Vision podcast live?
Oh, it was amazing. It was beautiful. It had its ups and its downs and its challenges. But I mean, I think I feel comfortable. I settled in and was able to move forward. So that was a great thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sopheia. So great to have you on the podcast show today. Welcome. And I want to say thank you to all our viewers. Thanks for joining us. And I hope you're able to now reach out to Sopheia and, check out what she's doing. She's got some amazing courses as well as one-to-one coaching program coming up. So do check the link for all details and do reach out to her. So thank you so much, everyone. And we hope to see you next week with another amazing guest. Thanks for your support. Have a great evening. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sopheia.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great being here.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.